Hello. Welcome to October 2021 Drop In with Debbie blog. I'm excited to tell today's story because I'm telling about my connection to Joy House in Estes Park in Colorado. It's a story that brings me a lot of joy, so I look forward to reading it with you today. Thank you. Dear reader, serendipitous moments in life delight me. The right conversation, a door opens, and a new adventure awaits. I say yes, and as happenstance would have it, a new venture begins. I'm going to tell you about one that is bringing me lots of joy. Hint, hint, at that three short letter word, Joy, will be part of the journey that recently unfurled for me. Read on, my friends. Have you ever had a serendipitous moment where you knew it was the right next step? I've always had an interest in art. Even as a young child, I remember finding flowers, grass, rocks, and smearing the colors from nature's pieces onto my paper. I was so proud of those original drawings. However, growing up with complicated family dynamics, I never felt confident about anything. My looks, my education, my art, my music, or my writing. I felt like I was a failure most of my life. Is your self-confidence influenced by messages from the past? How did you overcome? In high school, I took art classes and loved every project. After I moved out on my own, I started taking college courses and continued to play around with art. However, most of my time was focused on school and working full time. After I married, I refurbished furniture and painted them with designs. I quilted, made rugs, wove baskets, and much more. However, whenever I tried to draw, I felt like I did not have the skills. I was embarrassed to show people my sketches. Reader, have you had a dream that you really wanted to accomplish? In the 80s, I was a young mother. I had two children. I enjoyed creating things that enhanced family time. I decorated quilts with dolls and blocks for my young ones. We created houses out of large cardboard boxes. We made birthday cakes in the shapes of trains, and my children and their friends would decorate every train car. I ran summer camps and before and after school programs for young children. Of course, art was on the agenda. In the early 90s, life changed, and I was then a single mom. I was working full time and did not have any waking hours to devote to art. Were you able to incorporate your dream into your life, or did it go on hold? Then I had one of those my life before and my life after moments. I was visiting a friend who, when cleaning his gun, laid it down on the sofa, and the gun fell down the cracks of the sofa cushion, forgotten. That night there was a get-together with lots of guests, and a 3-year-old child found the gun in the cushions, picked it up, and pulled the trigger. Without the knowledge of the gun, I was standing in the kitchen talking with friends. The bullet flew from that gun and hit my back. It severed my spinal column. I lived permanently paralyzed from the breast line down. From then on, I lived with the necessity of a wheelchair. Do you have a life before and my life after moment? I decided to finish my college degree. Every semester, I tried to enroll in art classes. I would apply the first day, and I was always told the classes were full. This was in the early days of schools and businesses figuring out how to comply to accessibility codes. Art classes were in the basement. There was not an elevator to get to the bottom floor, and steps were impossible for me in the wheelchair. I always wondered if it would have required a lot of work to move the art supplies upstairs. Was that why I was not able to get into the art classes? I devoured lots of art history classes. I loved my path in trying to understand the art world and its connection to civilizations. What drives your dreams? Years later, then in my late 40s, I was president of a nonprofit organization that served people with disabilities. One of our most influential community leaders and supporters of nonprofits, Bob Polo, instituted a group called York Fellows, and I was one of its founding members. We were nonprofit leaders and mentors to others. I was also awarded one of the first grants given by the Fellows organization. It was for $6,000 given to a nonprofit executive so they would be able to better themselves, not in business, but in their personal interests. I still hold the record of doing the most with that grant. The key was that for everything I did, I would ask those owners to donate half the cost as an in-kind gift. This doubled what I could do with the money. With that 6,000, I traveled to New Mexico and interviewed artists from indigenous communities in their homes on the reservation. I met with authors. I took a year-long communication class. I took training on right brain, left brain thinking. I participated in art therapy sessions. I took guitar lessons. I took an oil painting class. I didn't realize at the time, but all of those interests spawned what would become the joys of my retirement years. If you are retired, what are you doing that brings you joy? After decades of living with paralysis, it took its toll on my body. I retired early for health reasons in 2014. One of the first things I did was create an art studio space in a section of my living room. I started dabbling. I created cards for friends. I painted. I sketched. I created little pieces of dollhouse furniture for my granddaughter. Slowly over time, my confidence grew, and so did my art skills. Over 5 years ago, when I moved to Colorado, I could not take my lovely large studio with me. However, now here in my tiny house of 240 square feet, the prominent feature in this space is where I work on my art. Does your home reflect your interests, reader? How so? I quickly immersed myself in my new Coloradan community. I shared my gifts of art with my new friends here. I started taking art classes at our local senior center. My skills and confidence continued to grow. I was invited to donate items for silent auctions. I had such joy in my heart every time someone donated to a nonprofit because of their bids for my artwork. How do you share your talents? Before I tell you more about my art journey evolution, I have to introduce you to some lovely creative people. Remember I teased you with Joy? Well, if you could see me right now, you would see a huge smile on my face. Here is their story. Reader, what puts a smile on your face? Marla and Joe Truitt are the parents of three children, Seth, who is 31, and his younger brother Spencer, and a younger sister Alicia. Their oldest son, Seth, has a diagnosis of Down syndrome. There are challenges that come with that disability. In Seth's case, it means he needs corrective lenses for his eyesight. His hand-eye coordination and thought process do not happen quickly. He was born with a heart defect which has since corrected itself. When you first meet Seth, you will have to pay close attention to capture the cadence of his speech. However, very quickly, you will understand and fall in love with his joyful personality. Oh yes, he loves creating artwork, and he loves his morning coffee. Is there a person in your life who you delight in knowing? Marla and Joe have been wonderful parents who taught Seth skills to be independent. From the time Seth was 18 years old, he wanted to have a house on his own and live independently from his parents. So in 2018, the couple decided to realize Seth's dream. Plans were implemented to build a home about 100 feet from their house. They worked with the township to get all the permits approved and then started to build. They also created a Facebook page titled Joy House Project. They asked for help from community members. Numerous people poured in their kindness with donations, materials, and a helping hand. Throughout the building of Seth's home, Marla and Joe funded a large majority of the project. However, the community's contributions were a huge gift and helped to make Seth's house become a reality. Everyone started calling it the house the community built. Have you ever participated in a community-wide project, reader? What did you accomplish? In April 2020, Seth moved into his new home. He happily calls it his house. Affectionately, it then became known as the Joy House because of all the joy that Seth brings to what he loves. His independence allows him to do his own laundry and household chores. He likes a clean house. He also does some meal preparation. Seth loves to cook. How do you help your children find their healthy independence? Marla continued to research options for how to allow Seth more independence. Readers, for years, my career allowed me to advocate for people with disabilities. Marla's understanding about Seth needing his independence is a wonderful gift that a parent can give a child born with disabilities. It was important to the family to provide Seth with the skills necessary to lead a life with autonomy. Readers, are you understanding autonomy for your grown children or your elderly parents? Marla posted on the Joy House Facebook page, Joy House is getting bigger. If you have a business experience, we could use your help. That is how Kim Messina entered the Truett's lives. Kim has lots of experience in her career as a chief financial officer. As well, she has been a part of her church ministry that worked with people with disabilities. Kim knew immediately in her heart and soul, I had to do this, she said. She reached out to Marla and told her, I don't know what or how, but I can help. Reader, when you knew in your heart that you should do something, did you say yes? Kim and the Truetts became fast friends. Kim and Seth also exchanged phone numbers. Now Seth calls her regularly, just to talk. Kim says, it's the best part of my day. Seth finds joy in everything. Kim tells a funny story about Seth. One day the two of them were on a walk. Seth pointed down to Kim's feet and told her, your shoes are untied. Concerned, Kim looked down, and of course her shoes were tied exactly as they should be. Seth thought it would be hilarious that he had pulled such a good trick on her. Kim laughed. He got me. He loves to laugh. Reader, who is someone that makes you laugh? When Kim learned that Seth enjoyed cooking, she thought of one way she could help. Before the end of the year, Kim plans to go over to Seth's house once a week. The two of them will create many different meals. Then the food can be put in the freezer and available for Seth to throw in the microwave for future meals. He also visits his parents' house several times a week. He will hang out with them, eat a meal, but eventually he says, going back to my house. What is a favorite way that you enjoy food with someone you love? Looking toward ways to assist Seth in his financial independence, he and Marla started selling greeting cards that exhibited Seth's artwork. His products were promoted on their website. In early 2020, sales were good. Marla and Kim met for lunch at a coffee shop, and the two kicked around other ideas to increase the business. Seth had been working on a soup and salad restaurant. However, during the 2020 pandemic, he was only given limited hours. Then he was hired by a local Chick-fil-A. The manager had followed Seth's story and wanted him to work at his restaurant. Seth loves it there. Has your work been interrupted by the pandemic? At their coffee shop meeting, Marla told Kim about the growth in sales in the earlier part of the year. However, she said that throughout the pandemic, sales lulled. She tossed around many different ideas that Seth might be able to do towards his financial independence. This was early November 2020. Kim suggested that Marla and Joe talk about all the options and see which one made the most sense to both of them. 2 weeks later, Marla told Kim, we are opening a gift shop in Estes Park. All artists will be people with disabilities, and we will be open by February 2021. The Truetts and Kim, who is now their finance manager, jumped in with their business expansion plans. They started to move at a whirlwind pace. They reached out to artists throughout the country. They wanted to provide independence to others who may have a disability, but who also have creative skills. As well, they contacted companies who employed people with disabilities. By December 2020, Joe and Marla found the building that would house their store. On December 26, they signed the lease. On February 1st, 2021, they took over the building. And true to their word, on the last day of the month, they opened their store on February 28, 2021. It's called Joy House, Gifts with a Purpose. It's a family enterprise. Even their middle son Spencer's fiance, Cambray, works full-time at Joy House. Reader, did you have a dream actualized? Everything fell into place, Kim said. Both she and the Truetts have found this business venture to be very rewarding. The store now regularly features between 35 to 40 artists. They also ramped up the joyhousestore.com website. They plan on having items on the site and ready for sale for the 2021 Christmas season. You can also sign up for their monthly newsletter. Currently, you can buy items that feature Seth's artwork, mugs, apparel, and other items. Several artists are featured. Coffee can be purchased. It is produced by a company that works with people with disabilities. As well, many one-of-a-kind products will be sold from this store. Marla and her team do not see this as just a gift shop. We are building a community where artists and customers find love. They see it as bigger than just making money. Yes, they recognize that they need money to pay the bills. However, they are also focusing on building community. Kim said, Marla and Joe show so much love to the people who visit the store. Shoppers have written letters and told Marla how much they visit to Joy House meant to them. The concept of the store is to bring joy and happiness, and that is what people are finding in the store experience, knowing the artists, and in the products. Have you visited Joy House? Besides her work in accounting and business, Kim also describes herself as a passionate crafter by heart. In the very near future, she will be starting a company that produces products for Joy House. She will work with artists to determine what their creative interests and skills are, and then as a team, they will work to produce those items. And now we're videoing. So what would you like to talk about?
No.
What did you do today?
Eat.
Did you eat? What'd you eat? Oh, I love tomatoes. You know what? I did smell tomatoes when you came in. Were you eating them out of the garden? Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's go to Mama's place and see if we did.
Okay, wait. It could be jewelry, kitchen apparel, condiments, ornaments, wind chimes, and spa products. It's only limited by the imagination of the artist's skills. Joy House will also collaborate with more companies to add to their product line. Readers, do you see where this is going for me? In a serendipitous moment, my friend Lisa introduced me to Marla. It was one of those times I knew I had to say yes. I'm going to donate my one-of-a-kind artwork to Joy House. When purchased, all proceeds from my creations will be given through Joy House to several charities. At the end of each year, Joy House will make a donation to 5 nonprofits in honor of me. It is my way of being able to say thank you and to support these 5 organizations. Each has touched my life deeply since my move to Colorado. They are Via Mobility Services, Cultivate, Crossroads School, Community Food Share, and Friends of the Longmont Senior Center. At the end of the blog, you will find contact information about each agency. However, I will say purchasing my items will change lives. For example, $20 could do the following. Someone with kidney disease could travel to a dialysis treatment, or a student could attend 5 classroom sessions. The money helps deliver groceries to seniors or a person with a disability who is unable to shop for themselves. Finally, $20 could purchase 60 meals for those in need. When you go to online to visit Joy House, I hope you enjoy the stories of many different artists. They each have a life tale that is beautiful and creative. As well, when in Colorado, you could go to one of the most amazing tourist sites, Estes Park, and visit the store. There you will be able to purchase many of the one-of-a-kind items, as well as the products you see online. Look for store information at the website at the end of this blog. Readers, thank you for allowing me to tell this story. When my friend Lisa introduced me to Marla, I knew that this was a culmination of a series of steps that my life had taken. My artwork is now doing exactly what I hoped it would. It's bringing joy to many through your donations. As well, for the others featured in Joy House, you are able to create a community of artists who can live independently. I humbly thank you, reader. I hope you enjoyed the story of Joy House and my new adventure. Please send your comments. I always enjoy hearing from you. Send them to droppinginwithdebbie@gmail.com. And again, that's droppinginwithdebbie@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.